All right. Well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, the place where we have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and anything else that strikes our fancy, right?
Correct.
All right. So we're going to jump into this. We got a special guest. You're right. This is a little different time than we normally do these broadcasts, but we've got a special guest that we definitely want to bring on in just a moment. So do us a favor. As you're coming in, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Make sure you are sharing. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube right now as well. And so make sure that you are sharing as we go through tonight.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So one of the things that if you've been a fan of this channel, first time, what have you, one of the things that we have been doing reviews of is a show called Put a Ring on It. In fact, it was when we started doing our YouTube recaps and reviews, it was one of the shows that we started with. And we started looking at it and we liked the show, right?
Right.
And so we got through the first season. We're like, are they going to do a second season? Right. And then we found out that there was a second season. We're in the second season right now. And we have as a very special guest with us this afternoon, Dr. Nicole, who is the main person in the show who helps the couples figure out, do they get married and put a ring on it, or do they go their separate ways? All right. So welcome, Dr. Nicole, to the Conversation with the Crawley family. Dr. Nicole, how's it going?
Hi, everybody. It's going good. How's it going for you all?
It is going great.
We're so glad to have you here. You have brightened up our day. So thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be here. Really
so
glad.
We really like Put a Ring on It, right? If I can just be honest,
right.
We were looking at the show the first time. I was like, okay, here we go. We got folks that are trying to figure stuff out. But then it was more than just drama, right? It was more than that. There was really a lot of things that were going on to help couples. And we began to, as we were talking about it, we were talking about this is helpful even in our relationship for recognizing different things that were going on, right? So we just want to, kind of introduce yourself, tell us about you, and then we'll kind of ask you some questions, and then we'll kind of see how this goes, okay?
Awesome. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Nicole LaBeach. I'm the host of Put a Ring on It on the OWN Network. Comes on Friday nights at 10 o'clock. And I'm a master relationship coach and executive coach. I work with leaders to help them achieve their goals in business, and couples and singles who are seeking to have healthier love in their life. So I'm just delighted to be here.
Awesome. Well, first question we have is, what got you on the path to relationship coaching?
My mother being a hairstylist. My family owned a beauty salon. True story.
Wow.
My family owned a beauty salon, LaBeach Unisex Hair Design. And before that salon, I literally was born into, Caribbean culture, hair, cosmetology in the kitchen in Brooklyn, New York, listening to relationship conversations and business ideas. And what do you think I should do? And, I need a little bit of encouragement, all of that stuff. I was steeped in that from birth. So it really shouldn't be a surprise to me that as many things as I veered into, I tend to be in these two places of leadership and love without much fuss or effort. It's just what I love.
Awesome.
And a lot of times in the beauty shop, right, we are having those really serious relationship conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Your hairstylist is like giving you advice.
Your barber too, yeah.
Right. You're just sharing in the moments. So I can see you just picking it up.
Tarsha, your hairstylist can know you're getting a divorce before the guy that you are getting a divorce knows that you're getting a divorce, right? Your barber knows things are not going right before she knows things are not going right?
Yep.
So you kind of just want to say, well, if you just go talk to his barber, you'll know if he really likes you. Because if he really likes you, he's talked about it, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what better place to start that conversation than with folks that, you know, really came and put their hearts on the table and really, you know, had that trust and that camaraderie to speak about what was really, you know, stuff that mattered in their life.
Right.
Awesome.
That's true. And kind of tell us, how does your faith in God help you in your relationship coaching skills? You know, just explain a little bit of that.
So, see, that's a very interesting question, because I have a friend who said to me once, and I've held on to it. He said, Doc, I learned that my expertise will fail me. And when he said it, I was like, ooh.
That's good.
That's what I've been trying to put into words forever.
Yeah.
Is a clear understanding that without that reliance, that alignment with my faith, that connection with, for me, the Holy Spirit saying, no, go right. No, go left. I'm like, no. I really think I should go right. This is what my expertise. And he's like, Nicole, go left. And I'm like, all right, I'll go left. And I'm never wrong, right?
Yeah.
I'm steered by that. I'm never wrong. And it's proven itself over the years, because there would be things at times in coaching sessions and conversations where I'm like, oh, I know. I know, right? And I'll get this push that says, you don't know. You need to still be questioning.
Right.
You need to still be asking the right questions. But if you already know, then you don't have to ask any questions.
Wow.
Now, is that your ego, or is that true? What are we doing here? So for me, that is huge. I mean, before every session on Put a Ring on It, I am writing my prayers.
Wow.
Every single session. I am in a book. And when you see me writing, that is what I'm writing, to get out of the way and to just be a force of holding the space. Because this is people's lives.
Right.
Not actors.
Right.
Absolutely.
Not actors. Right. So for me to make sure that the right conversations are held, for me, my faith drives a lot of what is seen, and a lot of what is not seen on the show.
Well, we can tell, right? Because like, especially when we see those group sessions starting to occur, and you would ask something, it would be in my spirit, like, ooh, my baby leap. I'm like, ooh, like you hit the nail on the head. And with you, it's coming so naturally as the conversation flowing, and you can see even the expressions on the couple's faces or in the individual. They're like, oh, you touched something that I didn't know that was in me or needed to be, you know, that something that had triggered. And you're right on
that, right?
Right.
The Holy Spirit's got a way of doing that. People are like, how do you do it? I'm like, oh, I wish I could take all of that credit, right? I wish I could. But I go in just like everybody else. I go in not knowing what is going to happen that day. I go in with a lot of training and experience. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years, so I don't want to downplay that.
Right.
But I go in with enough of the unknown, so I'm not filling in all the space, right?
Right.
And to be honest, there are times where I will watch the show and I'll sit there and say, girl, you know that wasn't you. I just watch up like, girl. Come on, Jesus. Won't you do it? I'm like, you know, that's not true. You wouldn't even say that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing I think is that, you know, from our experience, we know just when we are counseling people in pastoral counseling, what have you, that sometimes it's a question that you don't know the answer to, and you don't even know where the question came from, but you ask the question and all of a sudden it just opens up so much.
Right. Right. Yeah, because the whole goal is the Holy Spirit is supposed to be what? Bring back to your remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're talking about that 25 years experience. He goes in and said, Dr. Nicole, you remember this? And this is how, so he's pulling from your experience and bringing back to your remembrance what you need to say. And I think that's what makes this show different from other shows.
Yeah.
And the being authentic and authentically you in helping them, because I know people are gaining, like you're talking about this being a resources for even the Black community. I think you're spot on because people can relate.
Yes.
And then for you to ask the right question, you're like, oh my God, like this question could apply to my life or it could apply to what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's just so awesome.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, go ahead. You're gonna.
No, I was just going to say, I'm grateful. I love that is how people are experiencing it, especially in our community.
Yeah.
Because something that I've been saying now for probably about 2 or 3 weeks is that Black love is a community affair. If you have a Black couple that is supported and they have a community of accountability and love and resource and good ears and good, knuckles that sometimes just stop doing that. That's not gonna get you where you want to go. You know what I mean? And that full experience, you've got a real chance at building forever incrementally.
Yeah.
Right.
When you don't have that, it's such a marked difference. So to feel like in some small way, I'm becoming part of people's community. Yeah. And my partner, Crystal, the work that we're doing is becoming part of people's community is like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's really cool.
Awesome. So now what gave you the desire to pursue the OWN network? Because I know we've talked before and you even showed, I think, the clip of you kind of doing the audition. So where did that come from? What, made you seek out that venue versus others?
So May 16th, 1993, I was graduating from Spelman College. I had my cap and gown on and I was sitting in the auditorium. Yes. The Spelman College.
Yes.
And I was sitting there and Oprah Winfrey was our commencement speaker. So first and foremost, really,
right.
Dr. Maya did her intro and her intro was so powerful. I remember it like it was yesterday. She came down on a screen because she couldn't be with us and she introduced her daughter and we were bananas. It was crazy. And I'm sitting there and I hear the Lord say that I'm going to work with her one day.
Wow.
And I start looking around like, is he talking to anybody else? Talking to me. Am I imagining things? You go through that and I'm young. So I'm like, am I making this up? What's happening? I'm looking around and everybody seems to be just being themselves. And I'm having a full-blown conversation. Right? And I held that in my heart. I just believed it. There was something about it that was very pure and sincere. Yeah. And it felt like God. It felt like he was saying, hold it in your heart and watch me manifest. Yeah. And that was, I think, 27 years ago.
Wow.
Right? Wow. So I'm taking the journey because I believe him and different opportunities are coming up because I had no idea how, right? I'm graduating from school. I'm nobody's doctor. This is fresh and new. I'm in my, we won't say what age, but right. So
you're still 21. Go ahead.
So I'm just going along my life and I moved to California and there is a guy who says to me, he says, Doc, he said, you got a real good face for television. I said, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? He said, you just do. He said, I don't know how to explain it. He was an agent. He said, but you got a TV face. He said, and you got a TV personality. He said, you ever thought about doing TV? I was like, no. I help grow people. I don't TV. No, I don't TV. No. He was like, well, I think you should, you know what? I'm going to connect you with someone. He connected me with a young lady named Karen Peterkin, who she and I are very good friends, and she's connected to the Oprah story. And that was probably about 19 years ago.
Wow.
Right? Wow. So you're seeing how time is going, because sometimes we want everything to happen quickly.
Right.
And God is like, I have a vision for you that I'm gifting you so that you can see the where. The where, but I guide the journey. And he guided the journey. And I kid you not, Karen Peterkin is the person that introduced me to the young lady that lobbied for me to get this show. I worked with her 8 years ago. And she said when she went to vie for her position as executive producer, they thought they had the person that would host the show. The show had a very different tenant, very different take on it. And she said, I know the person who's supposed to host the show. And they were like, yeah, we think we've got, some good folks. She said, I know the person. I know the person, I'm telling you. And it just moved on from there. And the next thing I knew, I got the call and she said, Oprah chose you. And I was like, wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
27 years.
Wow.
But I witness, he'll keep you alive to make sure he doesn't lie. But that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole conversation.
Okay, that's a conversation to have.
Listen, those of you that are watching, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting that share button. Share it to all your social media. Get other folks. Let us know. Thanks for CA in the comments, letting us know she's watching all the way over in London, I think it was.
Yeah, the UK.
So in the UK.
Yes.
So listen, we appreciate everybody stopping by, but make sure you're hitting that share button. Let other folks know here. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on this season. Let us know if you have a question for Dr. Nicole. We'll see if it fits with the other questions we have, and we'll kind of see how we can go from there, okay?
Yeah, because one of the questions is, what has been the most surprising thing about the couples on Put a Ring on It to you?
I'm not often surprised. And I think the reason, right, honestly, it goes back to something that I was sharing before. I go in my desire is to go in like a clear glass of water. Okay. And let them add the colors, right? Wow. So I have metaphoric things in my mind to be very clear, to hold the line, right? Okay. So if BS enters the room, I'd be like, foul. If folk just in their feelings and they're not clear, help them get clear, so then they can decide, do they want to go left in the conversation or right? So a guide, very much so. I feel very comfortable in that space of being a guide, and I'm not surprised by a whole lot because I'm open that I have no clue where they're going to be coming from. So I don't feel the need to paint the whole picture when I get there. And that's probably best for everybody, y'all. Amen. Okay. That's probably because I don't know what my facial expressions would do. People have said my facial expressions are money. They're like, God, that's where the money is, and what's on your face. And I'm like, oh my goodness, if I came in with preconceived ideas of what was going on, y'all would not be able to take your eye off my face.
Yeah. Because I know there's some stuff that as we watch, we were like, Dr. Nicole is handling that, because there's some stuff that you, because I think to like Michael and Shay last season, when the whole Airbnb conversation of sending him to an Airbnb
with his son,
we were like, really? But you handled that. You were just like, okay, what does that mean for you?
We start using your terms around the house. Okay, so
Well, you know, the favorite in our tribe, and I don't remember doing this, but they will say in a minute, manage yourself.
Right.
And they'll roll, just manage yourself. And I just crack up laughing. They're like, oh, honey, the gym give us our whole life. And I'm like,
okay. Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I think you're really kind of showing us how that we should, you know, really help to have a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we saw Alexia's walked out, you know, you didn't stop what you were doing to see about her. You asked the question in the group, well, how do you guys feel about you?
Yeah.
And I think it's your, you know, being the captain of the ship and saying, look,
that's good.
We're going to keep sailing on. We understand that some of you are upset. You know, what are you getting at what you're seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we see others and other people's mistakes faster than when we see ours.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we see like, oh, I think
a lot of times, or all the time, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
We can see other folks' stuff like clear. We don't even need glasses. We're
right.
like, I see that with 20/20 vision. Come ourselves, honey. We putting glasses and shades on top of glasses, and we still can't see.
Right.
I did something wrong, really. Oh.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And I think, and then they started talking. I was like, boy, y'all can identify other people's stuff quick.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that the truth? And you know, one of the things that's interesting about that scene, thank you for bringing it up, with her walking out, you know, that was very real.
Mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm.
the producers, they were really, I'm really blessed. They follow my lead and they are really great leaders at what they do. So I follow them as well. And they were kind of trying to figure out, okay, what's Doc gonna do? Is she gonna get up? Is she gonna walk out? Like what? Like, and they were frozen in time. I remember the day very well, and I was planted.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And when enough time passed by, they were like, okay. I was like, we're everybody's good. We're good.
Yeah.
Because every couple has a recovery pattern.
Yeah.
And that's what you really want to see.
That's
good. That's good.
Right? Can they come back? What does that look like?
Yeah.
I won't be with them at home. So what I want to hold the space for is for you to see when the kitchen gets real hot.
Yeah.
What do you do? And how long does it take to put the fire out?
Wow.
Listen, that's
we gotta make sure you cut that. We're gonna run that tape over and over.
That's good.
That's good.
That's really good.
So
you're right.
I cared about her. I care about her. You know, on the inside, there's always something that's pulling, but you have to stay grounded to say, how will you get the data to understand the couple if you intercept their process? You really got to watch it play out.
Yeah.
Right. That's
right.
Good.
And a lot of things happen. You got to see somebody had to say to Darian, go after her.
Right. Yes, we saw that.
So I'm watching to see, does he have that impulse?
Wow.
And if someone else says it, does he move on that? All of these things will tell you a lot about the maturity of a couple. It'll tell you, how resilient the couple is. It'll show you how they recover. Says a lot.
That's good.
That's good.
That's really good.
That's good. I mean, what's your Cash App? I'm about to give you an offering. Because you can't say it any better than that, you know. And I think you're right. Oh man, I'm just gonna take that in because you just can't do it any better. Sometimes it's just about being in the moment and allowing the moment happen. Sometimes we want to fix that moment, like, oh my God, this is so awkward. Oh my God, everybody's quiet, no one's speaking. When we can rest in the moment, allow it to, like you said, unfold, and then see what occurs and what people can feel like they're able to do. She couldn't say anymore because you asked her a question. And And she's like,
Eric, move your feet.
Eric, move your feet.
Eric,
This
move
is
your
it.
feet. That's the
I
line.
can't communicate it, so I gotta flee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what she was going to do, even when she said that. And I'm so grateful for that, because, you know, there are checks and balances that I have to have in this work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When she said, Eric, move your feet, I did not know that she was going to get up and leave.
Yeah.
I hadn't played the scenario out that far.
Right. Right.
I literally, I try really hard to be lockstep, or just let them lead.
Yeah.
So then I can help them get a path to navigate and guide where they're going. But I didn't know what she was going to do. And when she did it, I just said, thank you. Just thank you. Now, I would say, as you know, when I was younger, I thought my job was to fix it. And if you didn't leave feeling happy, and if you didn't feel like I did a good job, and if you didn't feel it, if you wasn't feeling, I didn't know what to do. Now, I'm like, I want you to feel whatever you're supposed to feel, and I am so good with you feeling that. Because it has value. It's not me.
Right.
It has value.
Right. Right. That's good.
Absolutely.
Now, so, okay. Would you have ever thought that this is the type of show you would have been on related to coaching? Like, would it put a ring on and been the inspiration for you as, like, you know, like, this is just perfect? Or were you, you know, little emperor at him about, you know, starting this show?
I'm going to try to make sure I understand the question, because it broke up a little bit.
Sure.
When I spoke to Robin, and she was the executive producer on the first season, and she called me and she said, Doc, if you were to do a show on television, what would you want it to look like? What, you know? And one of the things that I said to her, I said, I'd love to be like a fairy godmother. True story. What I said, true story, right? I didn't know where she was going with it. I knew nothing. I said, I just love to be a fairy godmother to help people go where they want to go and help them do what they're trying to do. I just want to champion them. That's I want to, yeah. She said, a fairy godmother. Yeah, like Glinda on the Wizard of Oz. Like she said, like Glinda the Good Witch. I said, well, not a witch, but you know what I mean. And we laughed it off, right? We laughed, we kept it moving. And I tell you, I've been called a lot of things on the show, the Oracle. I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? And I sit there and say, wow, how interesting.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but words are powerful, right? I always hear the cast members say, Dr. Nicole, you don't know how this has changed my life.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm like, okay.
That is awesome.
That's a blessing.
So, what would be one of the biggest things you've learned as you've been coaching couples? What is one of the biggest things that you've learned?
One of the biggest things that I've learned is you can't underestimate two people that have really decided they're going to do the work. You can't.
Yeah.
You look at people, you get all dressed up, you go to their wedding, everything is fantastic, and you're like, they're going to love each other forever. And in 16 months, the divorce is done. Like, divorce is done. They've separated. They live in two different states.
Yeah.
You go to another wedding and you're like, child, I'm going, because if I don't go, it's going to be a problem. If I don't go, they're going to say I'm trying to say something, and I'm not trying to say anything. And you're like, but I don't know about this. And 26 years later, grandchildren, children that are doing well, they are like, we should have put some money on it because y'all talked about us while you were eating our cake.
Wow.
And you were like, they'll never make it. And 26 years later, because we are committed, we had vision, and we were going to do it together.
Yeah.
You cannot underestimate that. When people are resolved in that place, it doesn't matter what you think.
Right, right. Wow.
That's good.
That's good. That's good.
So let me ask this then. So as you've been doing the Put a Ring on It, have there been any surprises with the couples that you've been looking at and saying, you thought, and I know you've been coming into it without preconceived notions, but has there been anything that has been like, that really surprised you?
There was an episode, there was a conversation once where the person was like, tell me if I'm right, Doc. I just want to know, am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? And they just wouldn't stop. And everybody else was like, oh, don't poke the bear, leave the bear alone. And I finally said to them, you know, I don't have to choose right or wrong. What I am going to say is that it's devoid of wisdom. That is what I am going to tell you, right? And sometimes what is at times surprising is how much the narrative that you create really controls your thought process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you can create a wonderful narrative when you're the only one holding the pen.
Wow.
What is dynamic that I think is always refreshing. I don't think I'll say it's surprising. It's just refreshing that when there are other couples in community, they in too.
Yeah.
And they start writing. And if you're wise, you gain insight from what they're writing.
Yeah.
So it's not just a singular conversation. And I'm still excited that still happens.
That's good. That's good. I think one of the questions, can you give us like 3 reasons why couples should use a relationship coach?
Oh gosh.
There's a lot more, I'm sure.
I know, but we only got like another 20 minutes with you or so.
Yeah. So. I got a lot of reasons. You know, a lot of couples struggle because they can't assess the damage.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So he's like, the house is on fire and I'm getting the heck up out of here. Right? And a coach is able to say, or she's like, all my clothes are gone. Everything done burnt up. Right? It ain't good English, but you know, right. It's garbage. It's soot. It's down to the nub.
Right.
And a coach can come in and say, it's just the closet.
Wow.
The rest of it is not, it's not smoldering. It's not charred. It's not burned. It's just the closet.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up the whole house. Let me say it differently. Don't nobody give up a whole house because it's burnt up.
Right.
Right. But if you don't know and you're in the middle of the closet, your assumption is, well, everything looks like it looks in here.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Right?
That's
and
good.
what a coach can help you see is what you don't see.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
That's good.
Which is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
other thing is holding the space for you to ask the questions, for you to be heard, and for you to understand what is really happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can walk away from this conversation and someone will say, how was your interview with the Crawleys? And I say, oh, it was great. What did you talk about? I'm going to replay what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, as much as I try, it's going to have some alterations to it.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not trying to alter it. It's going to have alterations.
Right.
In a couple dynamic, there is such power in a third party that knows how to do what we do. Being able to say, Kevin, here's what I heard. Is that what you meant to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you want her to experience that?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
Right. So one of the episodes we saw Darian say, she always barking back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Remember that?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that episode.
And I said, in order to have a bark back, there has to be a bark first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he stopped talking.
Yeah.
And he made a noise. He said, He was like, okay. So maybe it's not just her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is a way that we do this.
Yes.
And there's got to be somebody that can help us say, is this how it always happens?
Right.
That's good.
That's good.
Is this what it looks like? Well, no judgment. I'm going to join the conversation. What do you want it to look like?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
If this is what it looks like, is it working? What do you want it to look like?
Mm.
Another thing that a good coach does is really helps you decide to be accountable for what you want, not just what you say you want.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right.
good.
That's good.
Because your actions will tell on you.
Yes.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
People say I'm fair. They're like, Doc, you're fair. I'm like, I just call what I see
Mm-hmm.
and give you the opportunity to acknowledge that's what we all saw.
Right.
Now, do you want to do that again? Is that going to help what you're trying to build?
Yeah.
And often we don't know what we don't know until we know it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
So those are just three, but oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think that hits the nail on the head. People should be calling you right now.
Okay.
You got to make sure you give your information at the end.
Yes, yes.
Because I think we hear this a lot, and maybe you can speak to it. It's like men are always concerned in going couples counseling, especially when there's a female therapist, thinking that they're not going to get a fair shot.
Right.
And is it just natural for you to just call out what you see? Or did you have to learn that to be a balance between both sexes, you know, or who that couple is when one feels like they're not going to be fairly treated?
How do I answer that? I think you get a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Quincy Jones says you have to spend 10,000 hours doing something to be a master.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been cultivated in this thing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a gift, but the gift had to be cultivated.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which means I had to go through my own personal stuff, and had to learn, had to listen, had to not meet the mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had to figure out what you can fix, what you can't fix, all those things. And I believe that I have favor with men.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
I don't say that lightly, because my work since I've been 17 years old has been on women. Research, writing books. I know women.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side was getting a supernatural favor where men feel, this is what they tell me, they feel like I want them to win.
Yeah.
Feel like I don't come in with an agenda. They feel like if it's BS, I'm going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they know it.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't get mad because they know the play, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I already know what it is.
Right.
She's not trying to cut me. She's not trying to hurt me. But I know she can read it.
Yeah.
And then say to me, and when you don't, I know it's not because you don't know, but it's because you're trying to help me grow to get to another place.
Yeah.
And you're offering grace in a way that does not shame me.
That's good.
Until I can get there.
Yeah.
That's good.
And sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm grateful because it ain't easy to get a brother to say you fair in this context.
Right.
Yeah. Cause you've had, I know if we're talking last season and this season, just from the outside looking in, you've had two. You had Hollywood last season and you had Darian this season, where for me, I look at it and say, the communication is not fully there, the fully ability to express, right? And you've helped to commit to bridge the gap, the communication gap that they were feeling,
right?
Is what I sense. And sometimes I think that, and that's what I think I like about what we do when we do our conversations, is that we give the male and female perspective, and we try to help. I try to help women understand how men think, and my wife tries to help women understand how men, or help men understand how women think. And you do that well within the context of the show and everything too. So,
I think it come off really clear, that we all come from different backgrounds. Some learning how to communicate depending on our family dynamics, and then some that are not. And so being able to show that, okay, I can get a voice if I have if I take the time to get a relationship coach or work on communicating a little bit better, that my relationship can automatically just change just by adding a few words, or someone saying it just different than the way I'm saying it. Right. You come across as that advocate, and I think that's works well in the show as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just slowing things down. It's hard for people to understand. We have such a grave injustice in our community. Little Black boys are taught to not feel,
right,
put language to what they feel.
Right.
Yeah. Now look at the irony. Look at the irony. Don't feel and don't learn how to put language to what you feel. She's taught express everything.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when they get to be adults, he doesn't have language, and he doesn't have practice with his feelings.
Yeah.
She's got books of language.
He said books.
And she can tell you every feeling with language.
Yeah.
I feel disregarded. I feel misunderstood. I feel unappreciated. I feel like the nuances of what we've been through in this relationship that you missed, that this would devastate me. I don't know what to do with. And he is standing there like, you just used 38 words. I don't have one.
Yep.
I'm lost here.
Yeah.
Right. And to a certain, when you're new in the relationship, they're like, she's amazing. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. Yeah, she just did that. Right. But then after a while, you start to recognize, wow.
Yeah.
She does that well all the time. And I'm still trying to figure out, is embarrassment the right word? Is afraid the right word? Can I use that word? And not be seen as less masculine, less sexy, less in control.
Wow, that's good.
What word do I use? Because I've not practiced using many of them.
Wow.
So I don't even know the response. that I should expect.
Mhm.
So I will be wise.
Wow.
And I will just shut down and say nothing. And she's like, you won't talk to me. Feelings. And he's like, shoot me now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I need to know how to win. How do I win with her? I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Well, darling, you haven't been taught what to say.
Yeah.
You haven't even been taught to feel.
Wow.
So can we just start there?
Wow.
Can we get you some words? Can we get you some level 1 words, some level 2 words, some level 3 words? And can we get you those couple of words that you don't use them often?
Right.
Break glass, use word. Right. Put them away. Don't you use them often. But if you need to use them, she needs to understand what that means. And that could be help. That could be stop. What are those words for you? But that's the stuff that our community doesn't really have. So when it falls apart, often what I'm clear about is I'm not even sure if it was worth the end.
Wow.
Was it worth the end? Was it rightly assessed?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No.
I mean, you just said a whole lot in that. Again, I'm about to send another offering your way, because that's amazing. Because then what I heard was intimidation. Yeah, like a man can feel intimidated. It's like, wow, you were able to get all that out. Oh my God! And I'm still trying to express. I'm trying to assimilate in my head how I'm feeling. I'm trying to process everything I'm going through and why am I feeling this way towards you? And here you are able to get it out. And when a man can, you feel that more conflict comes in.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's such a blessing to be able to learn how to not tango all the time.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to have enough grace and enough safety to recognize that doesn't always have to be the way to get our feelings across.
Right.
But one of the things that I've often said to women, because we're in the same tribe, right? We know each other because we know each other. I am you, you are me. We up in here. Don't flood. When I grew up in New York, and in the summertime, if you wanted to see kids really happy, let a hydrant. They're like, please don't call the firemen because we are about to get popsicles and water. It is full-blown summertime, right? Because we as women often, not all the time, this is not universal, we often have practice with language. We have what we've been thinking about and what we want to express. And then we'll come and we'll say, okay, Kevin, so here's this and here's that, and we'll give you the list. So what do you think? I just got it.
Right.
I'm 2 seconds in on this, right? And she's like, but I just explained it to you. And we deal with this every Christmas, so I don't know why you haven't been thinking of that. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, my speakers of truth.
You are, listen.
Right.
And what happens is we don't recognize always that men can feel flooded because we've got a day and a half ahead of them.
Right.
Or 3 weeks ahead of them. And it makes sense because it's like, listen, if we've been fighting about child support, we've been fighting about child support. And come the holidays, We're fighting about child support. You're not ahead on this conversation.
Right.
Like, I don't understand what we're talking about here. And he's like, we seem to be doing so well. What's going on?
Because we need time to process.
Right. So what I say is give the gift of your thoughts and pause. I want you to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel like I said that you didn't quite? Okay. So can we come back and talk about this in a few days?
Yeah.
Now, that right there is a skill, because most women are like, Doc, a few days?
Right.
Come on.
I'll kill a woman. Like,
what? You're like, wait a few days. Right? Yes. And I say, well, now you took a couple of days to figure out how to say it with respect.
Right.
How to say it in a way where we're not going to have a big blowout. You know, if you're a godly woman, you try to figure out how to be respectful because you want to cut him, all this stuff. You don't went through all of that.
And find the scriptures to support it too.
Right. It's like, how long did it take you? They're like, you lucky I know you on the side of my relationship. You lucky. And I said, then give him a couple days and say, when do you want to come back to this?
Yeah.
He needs to be able to say Friday. And what I say to the brothers, for God so loved the world, please think about it before Friday. Please. She is holding on and trying to manage herself. And if you don't come on Friday, 12:01 Saturday morning,
it's on.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's on.
But if you're like, so listen, I thought about what you said.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Here's what I have to offer.
Right.
We may not solve it all in that moment.
Right.
But then we can leave again and be like, all right, let's think about that.
Right.
We come back Sunday night. Yeah, we can come back Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does all of that time lapse do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes sure that we stay in this together.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That I don't leave you, you don't leave me. I don't turn away from you.
Right.
I don't turn in. That's what it does. So it's worth it. And the more you practice, the less time you won't have to take 5 days.
Right. Right.
Like, let's talk about it tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Nicole, last question. We're gonna wrap up. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you stopping by. Last question. We know you can't go us because we don't want Will and Oprah mad at you, right? But are there any things that we need to be looking out in these next that you remember from your sessions? Because I know they do editing, what have you. Are there any things that you're like, that's going to hit, or people are going to really be surprised by that, or that's going to be the next viral moment out of the show?
Of course. Come on. Of course.
Can you give us a hint?
Get in all kind of trouble. Oh my goodness. Of course. Yeah. Yes. There are things, plural. Right? I can't say a thing about things, but there are things.
All right.
Well, you're not making it easy. You know, I know they really go over all the dates that they select for the individuals. And I feel like they get more milk chocolate and more fit and more sweet. And you make temptations, like they've been saying it.
Some of those dates are problems. They are whole problems.
Well, you know, when I go to the grocery store, I go to the grocery store alone. Right? I do recognize that there are nice looking people in the grocery store. You know, nice looking people are everywhere. It's the funniest thing.
Oh yeah.
People are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right? So what is interesting is when you are clear on what your vision is,
Right.
and you're committed to that vision, what you focus on grows and expands, right? if you're focused on the wrong thing, that will grow and expand. And grown folks who've been married a long time, they'd be like, honey, it's pretty people everywhere.
Right.
But I'm only building with this one.
Right.
He about the best thing that he all I see.
Right.
Crazy self. Nuts. But he the kind of nuts I like, right? And there are a lot of options. Yeah. But I'm only building with one.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
That's good.
But that's choice, right? It's not it's not that they're not everywhere. Pretty people everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But what are you seeing in front of you? What is your vision? And how does that navigate what you do, where you go, how you do what you do?
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, again, we appreciate you. Go ahead and give everyone your socials, as well as I know you've got a website and some things coming up. So go ahead and feel free to share all of that.
Yes. So on social, ask Dr. Nicole, Sister Diamonds LLC. You can find out everything that we are doing in reference to leadership, in reference to love. We've got a couple of events that are coming up. Heart of the Matter conversations. Yeah. If you are in a marriage or in a relationship, Heart of the Matter conversations is going to bless you. And it doesn't matter how long you've been married, right? It's just like the show. People are dating on the show and you're like, child, we've been married 25 years. But you watch it and you gain things in your toolbox, right? Yeah. Because if you've done relationship, you know it's not about if you'll need a tool.
Right.
It's about if you'll have the tool you need when you need it.
Yep.
Right? So Heart of the Matter conversations for couples is happening, September 19th, I believe. Okay. Sunday, whatever that Sunday is, it's just foggy. And Heart of the Matter conversations for singles is happening the day before, which I believe is the 18th, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is going to be for singles. Sunday is going to be for couples. We invite you to come and get your blessing. Everybody that's come is like, wow, I didn't think it would be this much fun. And we talked about things we've not talked about. We learned about things we didn't even know. There's so many things in our community we just don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's time. It's time for us to have the tools.
Yes.
So we're not always building our houses with a shoe
Yes.
on a nail. I need a hammer.
Right.
If everybody else got a hammer, I want a hammer. Why do I use my shoe? Right. So it's that kind of dynamic. And the other thing that's happening, I don't know when this will air, but on this Saturday, I don't think it'll happen that quick. We are doing the International Slumber Party. So for those of you that are in this conversation live, the International Slumber Party was co-founded by my wonder twin and business partner, Crystal Khalil, and I. We have 18 to 25-year-old young women of color from around the world coming together on Saturday for a 24-hour event. It is the world's largest slumber party. We already have over 50 countries being represented.
Wow.
And it is a thing. If you've got a niece or daughter or sister or a mentee, she needs to be there. And we've removed all of the obstacles. It is free.
Wow.
Okay.
Paid forward, should I say. Yeah. It is not a Zoom. It is a 2D virtual experience in a 13-room mansion that was curated for young women of color.
Wow. So
invite a young lady, go to internationalslumberparty.com so that you can register. And more than anything, support the cause, donate to support the cause so that we are all in this conversation. I've not been to 50 countries.
Oh.
So the fact that we have something that is bringing girls together from South Africa and Canada and Botswana and Finland and Morocco is a blessing. So sow a seed and wrap it in a prayer you know, and tell as many young women as you know. The president of the Oprah Winfrey Network is going to be speaking in the mansion.
Oh, wow.
It is a thing. They will get more access to content and young women that are brilliant like them, and be able to ask questions that they normally don't feel safe to ask, so that they can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're up to.
Awesome. Well, again, Dr. Nicole, we appreciate your time. We're glad you stopped by Conversations with the Crawleys, and we're excited for what's ahead for you and for the Put a Ring on It show, and everyone involved in that. We'll be watching, and even when we head out of town, we still make sure we watch so we can see what's going on with all of the couples. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you all. Thanks for everything that you do, and keep doing it.
No problem. Again, and for all of our viewers, thanks again for sticking with us. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, like, and requesting notifications, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye. Share.